without further ado, I want to introduce our speaker, Manik. Manik is a tech solution architect at ThoughtWorks and has about 20 years of experience in tech. Manik loves cats. Most of our speakers love cats. I love cats too. I think there seems to be a common thread there with a cat enthusiasm in cloud. I don't know, maybe it's just me. But yeah, and Manik loves shopping and music, and we're just really, really glad to have you back. So I'm going to pass it on to Manik, and we'll carry on with today's talk. Thanks, everybody.
Hey,
and a big thank you. Pardon me, before we begin, just want to thank the team that was involved, one with working on the social media, the graphics, and just planning the event overall. This community really thrives on the support of its volunteers. So just want to take a moment to say thank you for contributing your time and efforts, and a special shout out to Ira and Nydia in helping, and also an extra shout out to Maitreyi, who has been a key part of helping curate this cloud adoption series as well. Okay, that's it from me. I'm going to stop sharing now.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Hope and Eric, for a very nice introduction. A warm welcome to all the attendees. Thanks for joining today's conversation as well as the presentation. While I share my screen, I just wanted to maybe you could just type it in our maybe you could just type it in the chat box that if what is your experience on cloud? Have you already been be a part of the cloud journey, or you are here to learn more about it, or what is your experience about about cloud? Okay, with that, while all of you are putting up your views and experience about cloud, I just wanted to quickly check with Hope and Airath if my screen is visible and is it full
Your
screen?
screen is visible. Yes, we can see everything. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. Just give me a minute to adjust. All right, I'm just checking. Okay, great. So a lot of people have experience and they already know about the cloud. That's really great. All right. So today we are going to touch upon a very important topic, and that's just give me a minute. All right. Okay. Hope my screen is up, right?
Yes, your screen is there. We can see the agenda.
Yeah. So today we are going to touch upon a very important topic, and that could act as an important foundation while an organization is embarking the cloud journey. Now, irrespective, one more point to add here is, irrespective of whether you have already embarked the cloud journey, you are already on cloud, or you are just starting on it, this cloud strategy topic holds important and is relevant for all such scenarios. So whether you are just starting on cloud, you are already on cloud, or you are in the middle of the cloud, this topic is relevant for all such scenarios. And that's one of the reasons this is an important topic for the conversation in today's world. And as a part, since we have a lot to cover here, I will not just maybe I'll not go line by line here, but most importantly today we are going to talk about how can we build a very comprehensive cloud strategy which will enable the organizations to accelerate their cloud adoption journey with minimal to no disruption. And that's what our agenda for today is. While we deep dive on this topic, I would also like to share my experience about building or developing a cloud strategy for my various clients I worked for. Now, while we are getting deep dive into the cloud strategy as a topic, let's first understand why cloud strategy is very important and why we are saying that it's very pivotal for an organizations while they are already on the cloud or venturing into the cloud. This will set the stage for their success. Now let's first understand why. That's because as per the latest survey that has been done, it says that almost 50% of 50% of the organizations, they have already adopted the cloud, and most of their workloads are already deployed on the cloud. And that's one of the reason why there is a very accelerated adoption of the cloud, is because today cloud is acting as a technology enabler as well as a capability enabler for them. So today the primary agenda that drove various organizations to move to the cloud is their digital transformation journey. And the current cloud service providers that we have, be it AWS, GCP, or Azure, they are well capable enough, and they have a very vast set of service offerings that that are helping the organizations to speed up their digital transformation journey while leveraging the cloud services. However, as per the Gartner, it says that by 2028, this number, which we are talking as 50%, will rise to 75%. And by 2028, cloud will not just act as an enabler, but cloud will become the business necessity for these organizations. And hence, it is very important that while you are planning your cloud adoption journey, you need to have a very prescriptive plan, a very detailed plan about how to move to the cloud. So when we talk about the cloud strategy, it is important to take into consideration why you are moving to the cloud and what is the cloud strategy that will help you to be successful on the cloud. Okay, so today we are going to focus on why, what, and how to build a comprehensive cloud strategy. Now this is a depiction in terms of the picture that some of you have, if you have joined our previous if you have joined our last presentation, you would have been you will probably be familiar with this picture. What it says that while journey to cloud is an offering usually provided by various cloud service providers, irrespective of whether you have already embarked the cloud journey, you are in the middle of the journey, or you are already on the cloud in the operate and optimize phase, the cloud strategy can come along with you irrespective of where you are on this path. Okay. So while moving on, let's first understand that why cloud strategy. The cloud strategy is very important and needed by various organizations because the complexity of the business is growing, and having a very detailed comprehensive cloud strategy will help them to speed up their cloud adoption and also measure the success of cloud adoption. So when we say that the cloud strategy which we have designed is successful, is when it helps you to achieve the business goals via cloud adoption. Okay, so I would like to just repeat this statement that a cloud strategy will become successful when it helps the organization to meet their business goals while adopting the cloud. Now let's understand that while you define the cloud strategy, let's first focus on why. The why factor, WH1. Let's understand for your organization or for the client you're working for, what are their current challenges, what is their current state of the business and the organizations, and why they wanted to move to the cloud. What are the business opportunities that they see or you see while you are doing their assessment when they are moving their workloads to the cloud. Do consider and assess the various dimensions while you adopt to the cloud. When I say various dimension, it is more about it is about what is their current state. It is about what are the processes and the guidelines that they are following. What is how mature is their technology landscape and their applications? are they ready to move to the cloud or not? So, and what are the business goals that the top leadership is looking for? What is their mission? What is their vision? What is their mission? What are the ambitions of the organization? These all such things will play an important and a pivotal role while you craft a cloud strategy for your client or a organization. Now, the next important factor to consider here is whether this organization has already adopted cloud. If so, where do they stand in the cloud adoption journey? If not, what is their goal? What is their timelines that they are targeting to reach or move everything on the cloud or most of the critical workloads on their cloud? And next, by moving to the, and a very last thing is by moving to the cloud, what is that they wanted to achieve? What are their success metrics? Or when an organization says that, okay, I have adopted the cloud, but while adopting the cloud and while I moved to the cloud, I have also achieved these successes. And now these successes are nothing but the key performance indicators about your organization while they adopted the cloud. Now it may be the cost reduction. The success factor could be the customer satisfaction. The success factor could be improving the performance and efficiency. The success factor could be bringing new business or improving the customer base. So these are the various important dimensions that one should understand while defining the cloud strategy. So by now I hope all of us have understood why cloud strategy. Now let's understand what is cloud strategy and
Manik, we lost you. Manik, are you still there? Give us just a moment. I think she's having an internet connectivity issue. So if everyone could just stand by, give us just a few seconds. I'm sure she'll be right back. While we're waiting for Manik to rejoin us, is anyone here participating in the February bingo challenge? And how are you doing with it, if you are? I'm doing, I would say, okay. It's definitely been a challenge and definitely not going to be able to complete everything on the tracker sheet. And for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, there is a bingo challenge that's happening for the cloud track, part of the Women Who Code Days of Code. And so there are a series of challenges across all of the digital tracks to help kind of spark off the new year. And it's not too late to participate. The bingo challenge goes on till the end of the month. You can learn more about it here. Give me just a moment. I'm going to find the link for you. If you can learn more about the bingo challenge and all the other challenges for the different tracks. Oh, there you are. You're back. Okay,
Yeah,
give me
I'm
one
so
second.
sorry.
No
I
worries, that happens.
lost the internet. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
I figured. Okay. Anyway, you can learn more about the Days of Code challenge there, and it's not too late to join the bingo challenge. And for those of you that are participating, I really, really want to emphasize that you do not have to finish the tracker. I think some folks are getting really stressed. Even if you're only able to do 2 or 3 of the challenges, that is perfectly okay. No pressure. It's just doing something to celebrate moving forward in your cloud journey and marking that. So yeah, and if you are already on our Slack, you can go to the bingo-challenge channel we have, I think, 100 participants or 100 people signed up to participate. So it'll be great to have you. And it's about, what's it? Progress, not perfection, right? Manik, let me know when you're ready. Or if you need, yeah. And if anyone has any questions, please post them in the chat. And thank you for your patience. It's not always easy dealing with internet issues. Living in Germany, that's often a concern here as well. Germany is known for a lot of things, but great internet is definitely not one of them. Let me see if I can get a hold of Monique. Oh no, we lost her again. Okay. Any questions in the meantime?
All right. So sorry. I hope.
Don't worry about it. Perfectly fine. Do you remember where you were?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll share my screen.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay. I hope it is up and visible.
Yes. Yes.
Before I got logged out, we have been talking about why cloud strategy, and we have understood why it is very important to have a very comprehensive cloud strategy. Now, next, we will discuss about what are the fundamental things we should discuss or detail out while designing a cloud strategy. And there are a couple of fundamental questions one should ask before you jump into building the cloud strategy. Now, let's see what are those questions. So, the first and the foremost is you'll have to first ask yourself as well as the organization or the client for whom you are developing the cloud strategy, and that is, how does the cloud strategy aligns with the overall business objectives and the goals for your organizations. So first, before you jump to the cloud or understand why the organization is embarking or adopting cloud, let's first understand what are the business objectives and the goals of the organization. Next, what are the specific business outcomes are you aiming in order to achieve, you wanted to achieve while you adopt cloud? And what are the targets? What are the timelines that you're looking for? The next and important thing is who all need to be involved in the cloud initiative. So who all need to be involved? That means who are the stakeholders? You need to ensure they are onboarded and they understand and they are aware about this initiative that the organization is taking. Now, when I'm talking about who all are required to be part of this initiative, this includes various people and lot of stakeholders. The stakeholders may the stakeholders could be your executive sponsors who are going to fund this initiative. The stakeholders could be your business leaders, your technology leaders of the organizations who are actually going to use your cloud strategy and be a part of this. Next, these these execs and the leadership will also help you to enable various teams that are falling under their respective spans, to educate these teams and to make them aware and to make them understand why the organization is embarking this journey, why it is necessary, and most importantly, often an individual gets trapped in a question when there happens to be any change in the organization, or there happens any a strategic direction change for an organization, and that question is nothing but, what is in it for me? The organization is changing the path, the organization is embarking something new, they have build a new vision, they are ambitiously going to attain the cloud. So where do I stand in this journey? What is there? uh, uh, what is there for me in this journey? So these such kind of questions are need to be handled very well by the leadership, so that people should not feel left out. The next important question is to understand who will sponsor this initiative. This is a very important and a very big initiative an enterprise is embarking to, and it will require a lot of funding, as well as it will require that these fundings need to be handled well, and there need to be a lot of transparency and governance, as well as reporting, that would be required in order to keep track on budget, as well as ensuring that you are on track in terms of the timelines as well as on the budgets. The next is important question is about what are the process and the guidelines my organization should follow in order to be effective while embarking cloud. What kind of governance structure and the operating model should be put in place to make the cloud strategy and the cloud adoption successful? How should I reorganize? So currently an organization who is not yet on cloud is working, or has a defined organization structure, or a hierarchy, let's say for example a hierarchical organization governance structure. Now, is that the current organization structure is good enough to continue while you move to the cloud, or we will need to bring some changes into that? Or do we need to bring some additional roles, or do we need to make some changes in the role and the responsibilities of certain people or certain leaders of your organization? So organization alignment or realignment is also an important aspect to be considered while you define a cloud strategy. And we'll see, do not worry, do not feel overwhelmed by these questions. We will see each of these in much more detail. The next is who will oversee and facilitate the cloud adoption at scale. So while there are a lot of important things to take care, and it's not just one thing, moving to the cloud is not just one thing one should take care while you start hosting or move to the cloud, but it also about how do you handle your on-premise resources. It also talks about you certain things you also need to take care in terms of while you decommission your data centers, while you wanted to shut down your servers, virtual, how do you handle the decommissioning aspect of it? So cloud adoption, it is not just about adopting something, but it is also about how do you clean your plate while you move to the cloud, while you clean up the resources which you don't need to avoid any additional cost. And there are many such more aspects to be considered, but for now, let's focus on these because these are the most important ones to be considered while you define your cloud strategy. So moving on, and a quick recap that so far we have considered why cloud strategy and what is cloud strategy. Okay, so what is cloud strategy is nothing but it is a very detailed and a comprehensive plan which talks about, which gives you a detailed outline in terms of why you are moving to the cloud, how you will move to the cloud, and what does the roadmap of adopting the cloud looks like. Now let's see, how do you typically derive a cloud strategy? So when you start building your cloud strategy, the first and the very important aspect to consider is the cloud strategy. If you are building for your client or for your own organization, let's first understand what is the organization's vision. What are they looking for? For example, I worked recently for a bank, and the bank's vision was to be the number one in that particular region. Okay, so that was their vision. The next, consider what are their ambitions. What are the organization's ambitions? What are the short term, near term, and the long term goals that they are looking for out of cloud? While they move to the cloud, what are the short term achievements they are looking for? What are the long term achievements they are looking for? As an example, if I would like to quote, the ambitions could be, let's consider the same example of a bank. So while they wanted to be the number one bank in their region, the near term or a long term ambition could be the top 10% bank across the world. That could be their long term ambition. Now, once the organization or an enterprise level vision and ambitions are being discussed with the top leadership of the organization, try to understand and identify the business opportunities on cloud. So while this organization want to move to the cloud, let's try to understand what they wanted to achieve while moving to the cloud. What is it for them while they move to the cloud? And from that, you derive the cloud vision. It's very as per the depiction, it's very much clear that the organization vision is a bigger umbrella, and within that lies the cloud vision. And from mainly from the organization vision, we derive the cloud vision. Now once you identify the cloud vision, identify the cloud ambitions, the short term, mid term, and the long term goals organization want to achieve from the cloud. The example could be that they wanted to move their 25% of the workloads on cloud by first year, and within 3 years they wanted to move all their applications and the workload on cloud. So these could be the ambitions of you can consider them as a cloud ambitions for the organization. Now once the cloud vision and the ambition have been defined, let's talk about how you will achieve those, and what are the best practices and the guiding principles that one could follow in order to achieve your ambitions. Now, once you identify the core principles and the core principles and the guiding best practices, try to understand who can enable you on the cloud. Now, here the very first thing that comes to the mind is first is identifying which cloud service provider is best for you. Is it AWS? Is it GCP? Is it Azure? Or the best path forward is to go multi-cloud, means choosing more than one cloud. So first is to identify who is the appropriate cloud service provider for you. Next is where and how do you want to place your workloads. So when I'm quoting workload as a word, with that I mean the applications, the virtual servers, the data, everything that can be put on the cloud is nothing but the workload. What are the tools and the softwares that one should use which can act as a cloud enabler and which could help the organization to fast track the things and automate the things and optimize the things while you move to the cloud? And at the same time, these enablers would help you to be efficient on the cloud and also improve the performance of your application and the overall enterprise. And finally, you identify, once you move to the cloud, how do I measure the success of my cloud adoption? Okay, so once you do all these activities in the same order, you will derive your cloud strategy. Moving on with the interest of time, So this is a much more deep dive version of cloud strategy. We have seen a cloud strategy on a page where we started from the organization's vision, ambition. We derived the cloud vision, ambition. We identified what are the best practices and the guiding principle one should adopt while moving to the cloud. And next, identify the enablers to scale, excel, and accelerate the cloud adoption. Now, and this is the more holistic view about cloud strategy coverage. So while we move to cloud strategy, while we define the cloud strategy, it's not just about the technology, but the processes and the guidelines play a very important aspect of cloud strategy. In addition to the process and technology, one important factor is people. People are very important for an organization because these are the enablers, and these are the people, these are the resources, or this is your staff who is going to maintain your applications and your overall organizations applications on the cloud. And hence enabling the people with the cloud adoption journey is very, very important. We will see each of these blocks in much more detail now. So while you craft a comprehensive and a very detailed cloud strategy, there are certain decisions one need to take care of, and there are certain actions as well you need to take care while you design a cloud strategy. So the first and the foremost thing is CSP selection. As I said, which cloud, who are the enablers for the organization? Identify which cloud, whether it is AWS, GCP, or Azure, which cloud is most suitable for your current workloads. That's one part. Second is moving to a single cloud is sufficient for your enterprise? For example, if you are in a very critical business, are you okay to just rely on single cloud, or you wanted to distribute your workload on more than one cloud so as to avoid any disruptions in future? For example, by chance, by any cloud service provider services got interrupted for a longer time, your business will be totally shut down, and or it will be completely paused, and this will cause a huge customer dissatisfaction. So to avoid all such things, usually organizations who are handling very critical business or the essential kind of the services, example bank, they usually go for a multi-cloud or a hybrid approach. Now, while you select your CSP, the cloud service provider, there are multiple things you should take into consider, and uh, some of the important aspects one should take into consider is what is the current technology stack that you are dealing with while your applications are on cloud. So, for example, if your applications are more .NET based, or you are using a Microsoft suite for let's say Office 365 and lot of Microsoft based products, in that case, your preferred cloud service provider will obviously be Azure. And second is what kind of services the cloud service provider is, what is the availability of the services and the offerings by respective cloud service provider. For example, you are in a particular region, say X, and there the AWS presence is much wider and very mature compared to, say, GCP or Google's presence. In that case, the preferred choice of your CSP would be AWS. So there are a lot of various factors that one should consider in order while taking up this decision. And for that, we have a very systematic cloud selection decision framework. I'll just quickly show you a glance to have a glance to it. So this is a decision matrix where what you can do is these are the various aspects. Okay, what are the things one should consider while deciding on the CSP selection? And for each of these parameters or the attributes, you can assign some weight. For example, the current workload distribution on cloud, let's say I'm putting a weight of 20%. What kind of discount model the cloud service providers are providing. So let's say I'm putting a weight of 10%. Okay. The next thing I will do is, let's say my current workload distribution on cloud is more aligned to Microsoft and the .NET base. So the CSP1, which I will select, is Azure. And the 30% of my workload is on, let's say, are more compatible to the GCP. So the CSP2 I will select is Google Cloud. Now, here my current, for this particular attribute, I am putting the weightage as 20%. And I'll say, because my 70% of workload is more aligned to Azure, my weightage here would be higher. So in a scale of 1 to 5, probably I will weigh here, either give here a 3 or a 4, okay, as my selected number. And I just have a 30% workload, which is compatible with the Google Cloud. Obviously, I will lower here my number in terms of the scale. So here, if I'm for a CSP1, if I'm putting, let's say 4 for CSP2, which is nothing but my Google Cloud, I will put my score as 2. The score will be calculated as weight multiplied by the score I'm putting. So the weight is 20%, the CSP1, I'm putting a score of 4. So the CSP1 score will become 80%. And the CSP2 score will become 20% multiplied by 2, which is 40%. And like that, you continue to build this table, and finally you identify which score is higher, and that's how you will identify your first CSP provider or a preferred cloud service vendor. And these are just for your guidance, that these are the various attributes or the dimensions one should consider while deciding on which cloud is most suitable for my organization. So one of the very important aspect is what kind of skill set your current staff or the employees carries. Do they already know any particular cloud? If you have most of your staff who are Azure cloud skills, that's one of an important factor to consider while you decide on the cloud selection, because with this you are gaining something, which is you don't need to hire more people from outside the organization, and you will save a lot of cost in hiring process, as well as you will be because you already have people on the ground to work and start the cloud journey, you could immediately start on your cloud journey. So this is one of an important decision one should make before defining a cloud strategy. Select your preferred cloud service provider. So first select whether you wanted to go for a single cloud, multi-cloud, or a hybrid, and then select the preferred cloud service provider. The next decision you wanted to make is, what is your hosting strategy? Do you want to leverage the services already offered by the cloud, or you wanted to build of your own? Now, another aspect to consider is in the workload placement strategy is, identify which cloud, identify the pattern, whether you wanted to go single cloud, multi-cloud, or hybrid. The next thing to select is which workloads will go to which cloud. Now, while you decide, for example, my all Microsoft based workloads will go to Azure cloud, and the rest of my workloads will go to the GCP cloud because it is providing me a good discount. So while you move to the cloud, do identify which service model is best suitable for you, whether you wanted to leverage PaaS, you wanted to leverage SaaS. So this is nothing but your workload placement strategy. So, and how do you typically identify this? You do a SWOT analysis for this. You map your workloads to the CSP based capabilities and features, and based upon the quadrant where it lies, you will identify the fitment of your workloads to the respective clouds. The next and important factor to consider is, how do I operate when I move to the cloud, and what kind of governance structure and the program management one should keep in place while you are on this journey. So remember that as we have already discussed, people, process, technology are three important pillars while you define a operating model for the organization. So when it comes to people, we first need to consider that how should we structure how is the current structure and how the teams are organized currently, and what changes you would need to make while you adopt to the cloud. One of the example and aspect to consider why it requires a change in the teams and why it requires a reorganization is often it is found that when an organization is embarking the cloud journey, they do not have the required cloud skills. And that way, what do we typically do is we reorganize the teams in such a way that we hire some experts and the talent from outside. We seat them as a part of this team, and so the new team which gets formed is a combination of newly hired cloud expert as well as the old staff, so that the old staff could take up some trainings, upskill themselves, and work with the experts so that they could learn on job and become trained in some time. Another important aspect to consider is while the organization is embarking this journey, who is going to take the ownership of overall success of the cloud? And that's where the cloud center of excellence comes into picture. So the cloud center of excellence is a multidisciplinary function which acts as a enabler, as well as it holds the complete responsibility for that organization while they adopt to the cloud. So when I say a complete responsibility, it is nothing but they will ensure how can I enable the people, what kind of processes and the guidelines and the best practices I should put in place so that the cloud journey can be accelerated. What kind of technology enablers, what kind of foundation, infrastructure, the delivery pipelines I should build on cloud so that the cloud adoption and the modernization or migration of your workloads to the cloud is seamless. The next is the technology part. So all these three aspects, COE is the cloud center of excellence, is a body or is a hierarchical set of functions which is built initially temporarily, and the purpose of this particular team is to act as an enabler for the cloud adoption, as well as it holds the complete responsibility of making this journey successful. We will deep dive further more into this. Moving on to the process part of it. So the process part of it is to ensure the focus of that, ensuring that whatever the success metrics or the KPIs that we have defined, what it takes to reach there, what it takes to ensure that your cloud goals are achieved. So it is nothing but adopting the best practices, choosing the right tools and choosing the right talent, and putting everything in place, time box it so that this will act as a standard operating procedure for your organization. When it comes to the process, it is also important to consider what kind of governance structure you wanted to put in place. So the existing governance structure that an organization have is well enough. However, often it is observed that the senior stakeholders do not have time to also take care of this new initiative, and that's one of the reason a new temporary governing body is formed, which would help to identify and mitigate any issues, any blockers that come on the path of the cloud.
Oh no. Okay, let's see. Let's give it just a minute. Thanks everyone for standing by. Manik, we lost you for a minute. Can you go back to the previous slide?
Oh, sorry.
It was just like the last maybe 10 or 15 seconds, nothing crazy.
Oh, so sorry. I think I was talking about the process area about it. So when we talk about the processes, it is more about the standard operating procedures and the guiding principles that need to be set in order to make the cloud adoption journey successful. This journey, while we define the operating model, this also has an important pillar for technology. The technology will enable the cloud adoption implementation part of it. That means how could you modernize your applications and move to the cloud? How could you host your applications on the cloud? What kind of what kind of architecture patterns you should consider? What are the reusable components and the shared services you should build first before you migrate your workloads to the cloud? So there are a lot of aspects one should consider, and technology is an important pillar while you define the operating model. So people, process, technology, these are three important pillars when you define an operating model, and consider these three as a moving pillars which need to go hand in hand, and they will continue to evolve. And while you define your operating model, it is never going to be static, but you will have to adopt and make some changes and continuously fine tune it based upon what kind of feedbacks that you are getting and how while you are executing the or operationalizing your operating model. So moving on, we touched based upon the cloud COE structure. So this is a sample cloud center of excellence structure, and the various functions uh, the cloud COE should govern and are responsible for. So the cloud business office is responsible for program and portfolio management, status tracking, vendor management. Vendor management includes contract management along with the various cloud service providers. Then training and skills is an important part one should consider as because we wanted to enable our own staff to make them cloud ready for the future roles. The organization change enablement is an important aspect to be considered, because often it is observed that while the organization is moving to any transformation journey or a cloud adoption journey, there comes a lot of resistance from the existing staff because they don't want to change. They are happy in their own space and they are very much reluctant to learn new things. So this is a very sensitive topic and need to be handled very, very carefully. The cloud engineering office would be responsible to mostly for the technology part of it, like building the reference architectures, building the engineering practices, building the delivery infrastructure and the foundation, example, landing zone for you on the cloud, then uh, embedding the cloud security governance and risk controls, and ensure that your organization is compliant to what it is required from a regulatory perspective. And you will also have an app modernization service, which will help the existing on-premise teams to move their applications on cloud. Because as I said, not all of your staff members are cloud ready. So some of them may have already known the cloud, but most of them, they are not educated about the cloud, and they might not have the cloud skills. So while they are learning as a part of this journey, you need to have this expert pool who can take care of or who can lead this initiative of migrating your workloads to the cloud. And next is the cloud operation office. So once you move to the cloud, you will have to take care of operational, be resistive and be performance efficient while you move once you are on the cloud. And cloud operations is an important part to take care, because any application, be it on premise or on cloud, needs a continuous monitoring and a very robust monitoring tools and the techniques to avoid any disruptions. Now, while you are already on the cloud, one of the primary reason to adopt cloud is to reduce the cost. And so this is also an opportunity that while you move to the cloud, you have already started consuming the cloud resources, do check and see if there are further opportunities to reduce your cost. And that's nothing but the cost optimizations. So while this is an individual body, the Cloud Center of Excellence is an individual body which is responsible to enable the entire organization for cloud adoption, and also holds the responsibility of ensuring the cloud adoption is successful. This team will continue to work with the existing on-prem business units as well as the technology teams. Because ultimately, after you adopt the cloud and you stabilize on the cloud, slowly they will transition their responsibilities back to these on-premise teams. Next is the funding model. So as I said, while this is very good that the organization is adopting the cloud, but where does the funds will come from? So there are various strategies that one should consider in order to identify what are the sources of my funds. And for that, the first and the foremost thing is to identify what are the tasks I need to do while I'm adopting cloud or while I'm already on the cloud. So some of the important things to consider is while I'm moving to the cloud is nothing but my strategic initiative. Once I move to the cloud, this becomes a BAU activity. BAU activity means business as usual activity where the cloud operations will hold the responsibility of monitoring your applications on the cloud, if they are working correctly or not, are they performing as per the required KPIs or not, and all such effort the resource your staff is putting in that need to be accounted as a BAU. And then while you are already on the cloud, do you wanted to bring some more enhancement? Do you wanted to continuously optimize and innovate on the cloud? So those kind of tasks will be funded under a different bucket. Now, who are the various sources who can fund you? Because the applications that you're moving to the cloud, they belong to certain business units, right? For example, if I'm doing it for a bank, it could either be a mobile banking application or a retail business or a corporate applications or wealth management portfolio. So I'm doing this modernization or hosting the applications. I'm doing hosting of these applications on cloud for them. And hence the business unit will need to pull out the budget from their own granted budget and give it to this cloud initiative. The IT platform budget will also another source who can fund you for this cloud initiative. The IT platform budget will hold the expenses of building the cloud platform, building the foundations, like how do I provision my resources on cloud, what kind of observability I should put in place, what are the security guardrails I should put in on my platform to secure my cloud. So those kind of activities will fall in a budget that will come from the IT platform budget. And if you're not at all getting, or the people are reluctant, the leaders are of your organization are reluctant to give you the budget, then finally you need to reach out to your executive top leadership team in order to secure some budget from the cloud. And usually it comes out from the cloud budget, which acts as a kitty. So this is how usually the funding model is implemented while you define the cloud strategy for an organization. The next comes an important part, which is the skill enablement and the talent management. So here it's a three-step framework where first you need to assess that what talent you have and what talent you will need while you adopt the cloud. So for example, today I have all my resources who are Java resources, right? But only the Java skill is good enough for these resources tomorrow to handle issues on cloud? No. So what we need to do, we'll have to enable them through some internal, external trainings, as well as some hands-on shadowing job kind of the activities in order to develop their talent. And that's where you implement. First is you start building the capabilities. You first identify what are the trainings these cloud service providers are already providing, and what are the trainings you need to curate and craft specific to your organization. So once you identify those requirements, start building those training programs and start implementing those. Once your staff is have completed those courses, ask them to attempt certain external certifications, right? Specific to the cloud service provider, let's AWS or GCP or something. And then at the same time, while they are attempting this certification, try to leverage the pair programming concept, wherein what we do is a newly skilled staff will be paired with an expert. Okay, so that's how these two people will pair together to work on a specific task. So under the guidance of the expert person, the newly skilled staff will continue to learn on the job. And that's how we will continue and fill up the gap. And at the same time, this process will have a continuous feedback loop so that there is a scope for continuous improvement in this framework. The next is a vendor management, which deals with you will already the organization would typically have a vendor and a contract management team. We will continue to leverage that team. However, now this team will work under the supervision and a guidance of cloud COE. The next and important aspect is to understand the value-based cloud adoption roadmap. Now, what is this? This is nothing but identifying the business priorities, identifying how do I map these business priorities to the technology, and ultimately identify a roadmap that what is the order and what is the prioritization, in which order I should migrate or move my applications to the cloud. So as I was giving the example of a 3-year migration journey, you will actually have to identify the business priorities and try to understand these are my applications. Let's say the mobile banking application is the priority for the bank to move to the cloud. So next question you should ask is, while I move these mobile applications to the cloud, do I have all the capabilities already built, or have I identified the to be state or the future architecture of this mobile banking? And do I have the sufficient levers and the cloud enablers to achieve this migration? And this is how you will identify or you will build a prioritized roadmap. So in a picture, as an example, what you see is I will bundle. So let's say you have to migrate 500 applications to the cloud in a span of 3 years. What you will do is you will bundle and build small group of applications based on certain criteria. Let's say you will build this criteria based upon that all these applications belong to the same business unit, pertaining, meaning all these applications are specific to the retail banking. Second criteria could be, or bundling criteria could be, that all these applications are .NET based. Third criteria could be that all these applications are 3-tier web applications and are using a similar architecture pattern. So this is how you try to identify the common pattern and bundle the applications together, so that this will help you to speed up the entire process. Because if you're successful in migrating one application, you will also be successful in migrating the rest of the applications which belong to that bundle. The next is building the cloud architecture and the platform capabilities. So while you build application specific architecture and the to be state on the cloud, it is very important to build a strong foundation first on the cloud, and that starts with building a landing zone, which includes building a observability platform. That how do I monitor on cloud if something goes wrong? Building a strong security plane, which we believe in, shifting left the security. That don't consider security as an afterthought, but start building the security controls and the aspects while you start your journey. And similarly, lot of other things in terms of delivery pipeline, building infrastructure as code, embedding the policy controls in place as a part of your foundation architecture will give you and will boost your cloud adoption journey. The next is the target operating model. So while I was talking during the cloud COE part, that, hello, am I still audible?
Yeah, Monique, you're still there, but I do want to just we are running over time, so
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm just almost on the last.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, I'll quickly. So while we spoke about it, during the cloud COE slide, that first cloud COE acts as a owner, owns everything about cloud. Slowly, once the on-premise teams get comfortable, they will slowly transition their responsibilities to the existing teams, and in a span of couple of years or few months, they will go very lean. The cloud COE will go very lean. They will be a very minimal set of function that will exist, and the responsibility is only to act as a advisory, while most of their responsibilities would be shifted back to the existing on-premise team. So this is once you achieve this target operating model, you can say that your cloud adoption journey as well as the cloud strategy that you curated for your organization is successful. Yeah, and this is a very sample, the overall roadmap that you will build as a part of your overall cloud strategy, which includes all the aspects that we have just discussed, right from organization readiness, how do you enable people, how do you enhance their skills, how do you manage the portfolios, how do you handle the reorganization, technology enablement, platform management, and making the overall cloud adoption journey successful. So this is a very sample roadmap, and this is just a very indicative roadmap that this curates what all activities are most important to be considered while you define the entire cloud strategy. With this, I'm towards the end. Thanks for listening to me and bearing my interruptions. I'm extremely sorry for that. Yeah, and with this, over to Hope and Arith.
Okay. No need to apologize. It happens, but we're really just grateful to have had you here with us yet again. Since there is no time, I did have a couple of questions that we did want to ask just to wrap it up. So I'll start. Do you have any tips about change management while an enterprise or a business is adopting cloud? Because it's quite overwhelming and it's a lot of information. So yeah, just any sort of general overview tips.
Yeah, sure. That's a very important, and as I said, it's change management. Handling the change effectively is a very important and a critical aspect of any change or any transformation journey organization embarks to. Quick tips to handle this is prepare for the change, because there are a lot of questions not only just people would have, but even your leadership would have, that what is my role, am I getting redundant while the organization is embarking this journey. So a lot of such questions the ground staff as well as the leadership would have, and you will have to handle such things very sensitively, and very effective way. And for that, it is very important to spend some good amount of time to consider and understand and analyze all the aspects of change management, prepare for it, and then try to slowly execute it. Do not overwhelm it, do not go over speed, because anything that goes out of control will you will have to pay the cost for it. So it is okay if you're not on track when it comes to the change management, but go slow, try to observe, try to get a continuous feedback, and that will help you to sharpen and improve your change management process. So prepare for a change, manage the change, and execute the change slowly are the important tips while you handle the change for any organization.
Thank you, Manik. Ira, do you want to?
Yeah. Yeah, so another question we have is what would be the key design principles that one should follow when developing a cloud strategy? So a business, an enterprise, what would you advise the principles they should follow?
Thanks, Eric. Another great question. As I said, when we are doing the cloud adoption, it's not only about the technology, but it is also about the people and process to be handled well. The key design principles is about one of the important thing is while you adopt something, do not reinvent anything. First, try to see, because you are going to leverage any particular cloud service provider and they already have done enough work in that. So do not waste your time to reinvent anything, but try to leverage what they already provide, try to customize it and use it. Second thing is, try to focus more on automation and optimization rather than doing the things manually. While you are handling the people aspect of it, it is very important to provide timely updates, education, and enablement session for your people so that they are aware about what is happening about this initiative and what are the best practices, what are the key decisions that you have taken compared to when you met these folks last time. So it is very important to make everyone feel on board as a part of this journey.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
All right, thank you,
Oh,
Manik.
yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to the next installment of the cloud adoption series. And yeah, all good. Sometime, thank you everyone for your patience. I know that sometimes the internet is not the most reliable, but we push on, and that's, that's just part of things, and it's perfectly all right. If anyone has any questions, again, please don't hesitate to reach out. And if you can, please join us for the meet and greet tomorrow for Valentine's Day, Love in the Cloud. Anyway, have a great rest of your day, morning, evening, whatever time it is for you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you and bye everyone. Have a good evening.